Hello, good morning. We are going to study yet another sonnet, sonnet number 30, written by William Shakespeare. As we studied the earlier sonnet, and which was entitled Like as the Waves, we saw that in the title Shakespeare had used a, a figure of speech that was the simile. Simile, where the poet likens something to something different, but then he identifies a point of similarity between the two. So, also in this sonnet, which is entitled When to the Sessions of Sweet Silent Thought, we see Shakespeare having employed a figure of speech. I read the title once again. When to the sessions of sweet silent thought. The repetition of S sound in this poem is so special. The consonant sound repeated here is a figure of speech which is alliteration. Alliteration is the device wherein someone repeats a particular consonant sound for a particular effect. Now, what is that effect? There is something of importance, there is something of great import over there, and the poet wishes to anchor our thoughts there. These are sessions. Let us see what is the meaning of sessions. Sessions is a word associated with court terms. Sessions are the sittings of the judges, those sittings where they decide some cases. But there is yet another meaning of sessions, that is periods, a particular duration for a cause. So you see that a pun also has been employed. We will see why the word sessions. The poet is in a mood to think over, to give a decision over the periods of thought that come to him. What kind of thought? The thought that are sweet and that are silent. So even the thought has a repetitive value. These thoughts are sweet and they are silent. So and as I told you earlier, that all his sonnets have no title, but the first line of the sonnet stands as the title. So we'll read this poem, which has two special phenomena even in the title. The first being an alliteration with the repetition of consonant sounds, and second being, which you will understand later when we have made an analysis of this poem, is that there is a pun employed on the word sessions. So when we begin the poem, when to the sessions of sweet silent thought. When to the sessions of sweet silent thought, I summon up remembrances of things past. Summon. Again that the term used in law. So summoning is perforce calling someone by orders, calling someone by orders. So the poet says that whenever I am indulging in a sweet silent thought, when I experience those sessions, I experience those sittings where I perforce call upon my memory, I summon up, I perforce call them, I summon up by order remembrances of things past. I call the things that have gone past, something of my memory. I sigh the lack of many a thing I sought. So when I do this, when I try to recall those moments and of sweet silent thought, when I sit there and I think of the bygone things, I sigh. In these moments, I become desperate. Sigh is taking a deep breath of desperation, taking a deep breath of sorrow. So he says, I sigh. I take those deep breaths where I think about lack of many a thing. I feel that uh, I am missing things which I sought, wanted to get. So whenever I think about the old things, and then I perforce call them to my memory, I start sighing, and I feel that there were so many things which I sought and which I couldn't find. I am lacking them still. And with old woes, new veil, my dear, time's waste. So he says, see the old and new used together. This is a very special and a beautiful poem. And he says, with old woes are sufferings. So when I think of things which I couldn't get, then what do? I make more new woes. Woes again are sufferings. I suffer again about those old things which I earlier also suffered. I wail. Wail is talking aloud about something, which is a loss. So I wail about that, and which is my dear time's waste, which is a wastage of my dear time. Now the poet is giving two meanings to the word dear. Dear is loved, something which is close to our heart, something which we love. But dear also means valuable. So this gives a kind of depth to his expression. He says that when I think about old things and when I start wailing about those things, what actually I am doing is, with my old sorrows, I add new sorrows, and which actually is a wastage of my time which is dear to me, my time which is valuable to me. So, in this stanza, the poet only introduces us to the thought that whenever you think of old things, and if you think of those things which you wanted to get and which you couldn't, then actually what you are doing is you are wasting your time. You are adding misery upon the already suffered miseries. So, सरल बात यह है कि पोएट बोल रहे हैं कि जब भी मैं विचारों में डूब जाता हूँ और जानबूझकर याद करता हूँ वो बीती चीज़ें, तो मैं साय द लैक, मैं उन कमियों के बारे में निश्वास भरने लगता हूँ, विच आई सॉट, जिनको मैं पाना चाहता था, एंड विद ओल्ड वोज, और नए दुख और जनित कर लेता हूँ. I feel more sorrow because if you think, oh, I just wanted that when I was a child and all my friends had all these gifts, I never had one. So what you are doing at that time also you must have suffered, and now again when you think of those losses, you are adding more miseries to your new ones. And this, when you have such thoughts, then in that sweet silent thought time you are wasting your time, wasting the time that is dear, which is precious, which is valuable. Let us look into the rhyme scheme of these four lines. Thought should be A sound. Past is B sound because past is not rhyming with thought. Sought is rhyming with thought, so it is A again. and waste is rhyming somehow with past, so it is B. So the rhyme scheme employed here in these four lines is AB, AB. So when four lines have a rhyme that have one rhyme, then you call those four lines as a quatrain. So today we have studied the first quatrain of the sonnet, Went to the Sessions of Sweet Silent Thought, in which the poet employs an alliteration with the repetition of sessions, sweet, silent, summon. All these S's uh, tell us a focused idea of the time, the sessions when he has sweet and silent thoughts and which he summons himself. And then he uses a pun upon the word dear. Dear is valuable and dear is loved. So, in this lovable time, the poet adds more woes to the already suffered woes. This is all for today. We shall do the remaining poem tomorrow. Thank you.